You gotta give me one thing. I'm a scary judge of talent.
Adolphus Washington back-to-back plays.
The Detroit Pistons select Luke Kennard from Duke University.
Welcome, everybody, to the Triple Double Podcast. My name is Corey Albertson of Triple Double Prospects. We've got Jason Moore of 270 Hoops. And today our guest is Coach Ricardo Hill. Ricardo, what's up, man?
What's up? Glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me, both of you.
Not just here, you're back, though.
No doubt.
Second time on the podcast and everything, man.
Yeah, special.
Yeah, there's only a couple people. It's like, it's you, it's Chaz Wolf, it's TJ Kelly, it's Tuck. It's a small list right now, man.
I take that. I don't know if I can follow up Tuck from last week, though, man.
Tuck's good. Tuck's good. He brought a lot of energy to it, man. But Tuck was he stole the show a little bit too much. So, we'll see. You're more of a guest, not a host
No
like
doubt.
he was trying to be. So, Ricardo Hill, head coach of Cincinnati Walnut Hills High School since 2012. Also started the Cincinnati Lakers, a very good AU organization here in Cincinnati. So let's start it off with the high school season, Ricardo. You guys started off 2-3. You guys are 12-5 now, but you've got a very different team than you've had in recent years. Like, you don't really have a whole lot of returning guys. You've had to start from kind of square one.
Right. We're playing some young guys. We got a couple of freshmen that get a few minutes. We got a couple of sophomores. So we spread out. Like, what I've learned over the years is all the freshmen want to make varsity. All the sophomores want to score. Juniors, they want to start. And then the seniors want to win. So I would prefer to have all seniors where we just win. But unfortunately and fortunately, we got a mixture of everybody. So we getting those young guys some experience. And then Greg Filia came in this year, and he's lighting it up. He just had 33 the other night. Nick Smith is playing well. Ryan Hill is playing well. So we coming on right at the right time.
Before we go any further, you mentioned Greg Filia as a senior, and your son Ryan Hill's a senior. You nominated them for McDonald's All-Americans, huh?
Oh yeah. I think most of the kids in Cincinnati, I think they get overlooked so much that anytime any of the coaches can acknowledge some for their hard work, then we should do it. And so I think that's long overdue here.
I hear you. Well, those guys are good high school players, but you've had kids like looking at what you've had over the last like almost a decade now, and guys like Cameron Gibson, we're going to talk about in a little bit of what he's doing at the college level, but at the high school level, like they develop, and then their senior year they kind of really exploded. And this year, you guys don't have maybe that Division I talent in terms of one, high level athlete that can really play like you had last year with Cameron, you had last year with Zubin Nwankwo that's in prep school now. So like, how have you changed the way that you coach and the way you run your program?
Right. This like we definitely do not have that one guy that just is, you can just, when you step on the court, like this guy is above everybody, like we had with Cameron Gibson. Greg Filia is really, really good, and he's pretty close to that. And I think if we had him for a couple of years, he definitely would have been in that category. But I do think that he could play Division I. Just depending on what school, it will have to be the right fit. But we had to just kind of play more of a team game and slow the ball down a little bit and, take great shots and work the ball around and just value each possession. I think that's what we did more. I
mean, I watched you guys play against Milford, and like, for what it's worth, you're very aware that like teams in your league, all suburban schools except for you guys in Withrow, like they kind of look at you guys and think you're going to play one way. which is like real fast and just try and beat them with talent and athleticism. Right. You guys against Milford, who's like one of the big grinded out teams in the state of Ohio. Right. You guys really matched that style of play. Like you guys guard in the half court, and then like offensively, like you guys, like you said, everybody has a role, but it's really kind of equal opportunity thing outside of maybe Greg and that you're playing a lot of guys, and then like how do you work those young guys in there?
Yeah. So what we tried to do was. A lot of these teams, when we first took over, we had enough athletes where we can just out-athlete everybody and kind of run and gun a little bit. But over the years, guys get used to your style and they get more comfortable with it. And I think that's what happened in our league. So we kind of had to adapt a little bit to them and kind of grind it out. And in order to advance in the tournament, you got to go through some GCL teams. You got to go through the Dakota East and some of the GMC teams that's going to grind it out. So we kind of developed that style where we can run some games we can slow it down. And then we put our young guys in there so they can learn it. And over there, like you said earlier, Cameron Gibson was the prime example. He started he didn't start, but he was on varsity as a freshman. Didn't hardly get a lot of minutes, but got some experience. Sophomore year, got some experience. Junior year, started. And then senior year, he progressed so much and he became the man. And that was the same thing with Jordan Henderson, who's at Canisius now. And so we put them young guys in and hope that they're getting that experience so they can follow in those same footprints.
Well, it shows that the guys are starting to get it because like we talked about Cameron a lot, and then we'll bring his name up a lot today. But Cameron's junior year, he was obviously one of the most talented kids, but he was just that one step away. Like I remember I was so mad at him because I know him a little bit. You guys played a North Carolina team at Woodward at the showcase. The first quarter, Cameron was like 5 for 5 from the field, and he didn't shoot the damn ball again until the fourth quarter. And I remember being so mad at him. And then his senior year, he finally started, doing what you're doing, which is, take a high volume of shots, go through that. And, you guys do the skill development. I mean, you being with your personality, you're the type, like, you want that guy to kind of have that alpha personality. And, that's what you're trying to get this year out of some of those guys.
Right, no doubt. I think Michael Grant, he's a prime example of that. He has so much potential inside of him, and he's progressing. And I think his senior year next year, he's going to be that guy with Nick Smith. And then we also have a kid that tore his ACL, Ed Abernathy, that's really good. That would have been one of our better players this year, but tore his ACL before the first game, and he'll be there next year. And those three guys are going to be seniors next year, and then those kids that are freshmen now are going to be sophomores and sophomore juniors. So, I mean, it's set up to really be special next several years.
But with what you're doing at Walnut Hills and then, like, with the basketball history at Withrow, like, I'm sure these other schools are saying, like, if we're going to get Walnut, maybe this is our opportunity. Maceo Teague's not there, Isaiah Johnson's not there, et cetera. This is our opportunity. So this year, your guys have had to grow up. And, like, I know a lot of your kids from the circuit, they would practice with us in AAU. And, your kids have come a long way in terms of being tougher. And, that's kind of what you guys teach. And you guys have some staff, and you have some young staff that's really instilled that in them.
Right. We got, well, first of all, the kids today, of course, are a lot different than even when I first saw you and Tuck, and you guys had the kids from Toledo with your boy Tony and
Tony Kennard. Yep.
Yeah, Tony Kennard. Yeah, and Clemmy and those guys, man. Like, those are just tough guys, like tough, where things are really not going to bother them that shouldn't bother them.
And at the same time, you had Devin Williams.
Right. Trent. Yeah, we had tough guys too. I mean, that entire class.
Right. Jack Gibbs was in Columbus.
Yeah. I mean, just tough kids. And now these kids are a little bit different. So you got to kind of motivate them to be tough. And that's like across the board. It's not just, Walnut Hills or Cincinnati. It's everywhere. And so you got to coach them a little different. we can't be the same coaches we were 5 years ago. And the coaches that are winning are the ones that made that adjustment.
But I think the successful teams in the state of Ohio, and I think even Cincinnati, if you want to localize it even more, are those kind of grittier, tougher teams. Like a couple years ago when we had our good Lakers team, we had no bigs. Right. Outside of 3 or 4 kids, nobody wanted any of our kids. And, they all went on to have good high school careers because they were tougher kids. And we had some good stretches. You certainly have had that with Lakers guys, the Walnut guys, and, Cincinnati. And then looking even further to Ohio, like if you look at somebody like Ohio Red that plays in the Nike EYBL, they're usually not going to have the most talented team. Right. They're never going to have the most athletic team. But they've had success, and like our kids have had success in different travel circuits with having the most cohesive team and the toughest team. And when there's lack of success in certain classes, I think the talent is probably overrated because year to year you think that it differentiates. It really doesn't, to a small extent, but it's not huge. But the lack of just hoopers in the city and the state, I think, is really where we've seen a fall off.
Right, no doubt. And I think our kids down here, especially on the Division I level, like it is competitive. And if you're going to win double digits games each year, then you got to put the work in. You got to be mentally tough and prepared to win some grind out games. Because Division I in the Southwest region, it is tough coming out of here, man.
But, we've talked about it. I mean, most of the open gyms that, we've done with triple-double prospects have been at Walnut Hills or Withrow. And you remember when you were kind of starting out at Walnut Hills, we never had to beg the top guys to come. Never. Devin Williams was going to be there. You didn't even have to ask. He was going to ask you. And now it's like, we kind of have to ask some of these kids. You got to prod these kids, and, they feel like they're a little bit too good. And that I think is one of the big problems. And that's one thing I think you guys do really well at Walnut is, you have some of the guys come back that played on your state Final Four team your first year. And, you look at a guy like you have Isaiah Johnson come back, and as big as he was a guy everybody said he's not good enough. He can't move well enough. Right. And, he's gone on to have a successful pro career. But those are the type of kids that we need to rub off on kind of the next generation.
Right. No doubt about it. And I was so happy before he went to Canada this year to have him around. To work out with our guys and to work with our guys to talk with them. But I remember even when, like, he's one of the prime examples of Cincinnati kids getting overlooked. When Isaiah, we had him, I had a Division II coach, that's a current Division II coach, come to watch our game and asked about Isaiah. And he said, I don't think he's D2 talent. He's Division III. And this kid went on to be Player of the Year in the MAC. But he couldn't play D2. So he's just a start of it. But, Maceo Teague and even Cameron Gibson last year.
Cameron Gibson, let me just interject real quick. I want to talk about why kids, in some of these parts of the state. And Cincinnati's not the only one. I think Toledo guys feel the same way when they've had talented kids. But Cameron Gibson was one, he was 6'3", 6'4", guard.
Right. He
had a great attitude. He had a great family. He was a good academic kid. He could play. He was averaging 25 points at the highest level in the region. Right. Why were schools not recruiting him?
Right. That's crazy. I mean, we had schools. We went to we went to a lot of college camps. We went to one camp where the school, I won't even say the school name, but the whole school was recruiting a guy that we were playing against. We started off the game 18-zip. We're winning 18-0. Maceo has 18 points. It's 18. So I look at the head coach like, yo, why aren't you recruiting this kid, man? Offer him. He still didn't get recruited. Cameron, we had every coach in the region that we contacted, and I was just surprised that they never pulled the trigger. And then you see them playing now where they need that guard help. I mean, he just had 28 the other day, went 5 for 6 from 3. He had 34 against SMU, went 8 for 11 from 3. I mean, it's just crazy.
It's frustrating when you see some of the in-state schools, especially if they're struggling right now. And there were kids in Ohio that they could have gotten on a silver platter
easily.
And good for Cameron. Western Carolina has been a great situation for him, but this kid could have been playing a big role in the MAC this year. And those schools are going to regret it because maybe they wanted somebody that they thought at the time was a little more athletic or a little more accomplished on the circuit because Cameron didn't play on the circuit. But I mean, why do you think some of the other kids, Walnut Hills, non-Walnut Hills, especially with somebody like you, when you look at Walnut Hills and you do so much to contact schools for them, why are the Cincinnati kids or other parts of the state kids not getting recruited the way they should? Whereas in some of the maybe the Catholic schools or something like that, you're seeing them, they are getting recruited.
Yeah, and even not even at all the Catholic schools either. I mean, like last year, Jeremiah Davenport should have been higher than what he was recruited as. I mean, Jackson Hayes, that's a no-brainer. So, I mean, even those kids coming out of Moeller, I mean, they're going places, but, I mean, the ones that are no-brainers are no-brainers. Jeremiah was under-recruited.
Speaking of Jeremiah, God, you probably know where I'm going with this. A couple years ago, we did that Basketball Hustle TV.
Top 25.
The top 25. We took all types of crap from everybody for the rankings they put out, but we did little video comments on all the top players. And somebody asked you, what do you think about this one kid from Moeller? And you said, man, he's not even the best wing on his team.
Right.
You said Jeremiah Davenport's way better than him. And that turned out to be the right move.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he is. Now, and that's just we looking at talent. Now, we didn't know all the, the ins and out of, you got to understand their plays and run their system and doing all, playing defense, going to class. We don't understand all that stuff. All we're looking at is talent. And if you're looking at talent from the outside, then yeah. I mean,
but then with Davenport again, though, like we're not talking about a kid with problems. Like you and me know the kids that have come to Cincinnati that have had some extracurricular problems. And we're not saying those kids are under-recruited because we know the whole situation.
Right.
But these are kids that aren't. And, I think we talked to, I know you're familiar with Kurt Stubbs. We talked to Kurt Stubbs a lot on this podcast. And one thing he's big on when he talks about the evaluation process for colleges is don't overcomplicate it. Cameron Gibson, like, is he the greatest athlete in the country? No. Right. But he averages 25. He can really, really, really play. Right. Why do we have to make it more complicated than we are? I mean, he's a kid that would want to go to an Ohio school, wants to play Division I ball. Just go get him.
Right. And it's funny because you'll hear a coach say, who else has offered him? Like, dude, who cares? You offer him. Mm-hmm. Like, can he help your squad? He's a winner. He's going to defend. He's going to do the things that make you win. It's going to keep your job. But I think part of it is coming out of Columbus and with All Ohio Red being there, and then up north with King James and Drew and Mike Duncan with OBC. I think a lot of the coaches listen to them, and all those guys don't know everybody in the state. But I think a lot of the coaches listening to those guys, and they think if you're on their team, then this is the level you can play at.
Well, there's one thing to be said for those programs that I've learned, and that's they're always getting to see a high level evaluation against top teams when they see those kids on the circuit. But one thing that I think we do poorly down this way, Cincinnati, Dayton, that they don't do in Columbus, is our kids can be difficult to recruit. Our adults don't always put them in the right positions, and by playing for one of the circuit teams, you're often in a better position, or just we have parents here that want to make the process about themselves, that want to think they're better than they are, that want to be competitive with another kid instead of just enjoying the schools that are recruiting their son. So we certainly, as much as we're sitting here complaining about the problem, we're not always very good as a community in identifying the solutions to the problem.
I totally agree with that, but I think that's a problem everywhere.
It is.
And I just think what could help all the kids in the entire state, if it wasn't so much hate going on with the AAU organizations, especially the ones that's already on the circuit. I mean, those guys hate more than anybody. And you already getting the best players, so-called, but they can put a lot of kids on the map throughout the state, and I think it's on them a little bit as well, because the parents thinking their kids are the next Michael Jordan and better than what they really are. I mean, that's been going on for a long time, and that's going on everywhere. That's not going to stop.
No, it's not. It's not. I think. Yeah, I think that's a problem. And the other problem here is that, so many guys want to be the one to coach their son's team, and we've seen some success there. But sometimes you got to let them go and play for the circuit that's going to give them the most exposure.
No doubt, totally agree.
Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the high school season's getting ready to come to an end in terms of the regular season. We're getting ready to do the district seeding. And one thing we thought would be interesting for people who listen to the podcast that maybe aren't familiar with it is explain to everyone, now we're getting towards the later part of the season, how are you preparing for and how does the process work in the district seeding?
So the seeding for the high school is basically the seeding will open and all the coaches you have an opportunity to vote on teams. So let's say if it's 30 teams in your division, you vote from 1 through 30, and you can't vote for yourself. And so you just rank them. And then the team or the school with the most votes, you're seeded number 1. The school that's seeded with the least votes are seeded last, or that accumulate the least votes or seeded last. And so there's a big bracket, and who's seeded first, you get to choose on the bracket anywhere you want to play. So the first team will choose, hey, I want this slot here. And then the second team get to choose where they want to go. If they want to play number 1 right there, they can play number 1 to start the tournament. Typically, that doesn't happen. They go away from them. But you just put your place on the bracket, depending on what number you are in the seeding.
But it sounds pretty simple, but there's a lot of strategy that goes with it. I mean, it's chess, and there's nothing wrong with this, but there's a lot of conferences. You guys want to take care of yourselves.
Oh yeah.
So what you guys do is you vote. Especially, you've also seen them more, so you're more likely to vote the teams in your conference higher up than other people. So there's a lot of alliances and there's a lot of strategy to it.
Oh my God, it's crazy, and there's a lot of politics to it. I always think we're underseeded. Typically, Moeller's going to be seeded number 1, and then I think it's wide open. But what happens is the GMC schools, they typically will vote for themselves.
And they don't like the Catholic schools. So Catholic schools have the least voting power in Division I.
No doubt. It's only 4.
Right.
It's only 4. But I think most of them give them their respect. Like when we do our voting, I get my coaches together and we do it as an alliance. All my assistant coaches, we sit there and we rank the teams, and then we agree and we send it in as a group. And I think we've been pretty accurate, every year we've done it. Now, some teams don't do it that way. I mean, there's one school who had us 25th one year. I'm like, dang, 25th, bro?
In the part I know, at least in Columbus, Ohio, I don't know about Cincinnati, but when you pick up the seating information at the draw, it'll tell you how every team votes.
Right.
So you can see,
right.
You can see, well, so-and-so voted this team lower, and then all of a sudden you get this, negative perception. Like, what did we do to make them mad? Or, or like you said, it's all politics.
Oh, yeah. 25th, and I think we were undefeated in our conference that year, and they were in our conference.
There's also a lot of ego, and I've heard great stories about some Cincinnati City League schools that pretty much walk in there going, one of their coaches said, you guys vote us lower than second, and we're putting our name right next to you guys. So, there's a lot of ego that has to go with it too.
Yeah, it's pretty comical, and it's funny because, first of all, they're kids, and anybody can really beat anybody on any given night. So you got to be careful when you put your mouth out there and I'm going after you, and it's not about all that, man. We try to choose a bracket that we're gonna be successful in, and then lace them up and let's go play.
And there's different strategies. You guys have been fortunate enough to have good teams, but I've talked to some other coaches that said, well, we're gonna set ourselves up. We're gonna take this spot right here because we're gonna get killed our second game, but we're going to give our kids a chance to win a playoff game, the first game, where maybe you guys are saying, well, we've got a lot of guards. We don't want to play against this team until as late as we can. But it really only matters for the sectionals because once you get to districts or regionals, you're going to play a good team. It doesn't matter which team it is. And then in the sectionals, if you're really that good, you should be able to beat whoever you come across. So Division I, I think it's a little overblown.
Right. But I think with like when we had the first seed several years ago, we had the first seed when we went upstate. But I had so many people calling me like from Dayton, from the Dayton district, hey, which bracket you gonna go in? So I mean that goes on behind the scenes. So they can pick and choose what bracket they're gonna go in, so they don't meet you when you come out of districts. And so I mean it's a lot of that going on at behind the scenes that everyone knows about. Where you want to play, the two best schools should be last, playing each other to go upstate. I mean that's how it should be. But anybody can beat anybody on any given night. So that Cinderella story, I'm hoping it's us.
Absolutely. And there's always somebody. One of the fun things is there's always somebody that gets jumped on. So like in Division I this year, like you said, Moore will be number 1. We know that. And the next few seeds are probably going to go opposite Moore. So then the middle seeds are going to have to choose, well, which school do we want to jump on? Do we want to take our chance at Moore? And if we can beat Moore, then we're going to have a
easier bracket,
potentially easier path.
Right.
Or do we want to jump on this school and you'll see 3 or 4 of the top teams all be in the same little sectional? And you don't see it as much in Division I because it's a bigger bracket, but you really see it in Division II in Cincinnati with the City League coaches.
Right.
That's where you get the hilarious ego trips.
Oh, man. That was – what were you going to say, Roman?
No, I was going to say, another point about like going upstate, but like in Columbus, they told us the last couple of years we're not allowed to release. We used to do as the picks were coming in, we'd put them on our website. And they told us last year, like, you're not allowed to do that anymore because teams could honestly be sitting on our website waiting to see in Division II if somebody's going to go to Dayton or go to Athens, and that would change how they may pick for whatever reason. But, I mean, the odds that happens is so,
Right.
Like,
they already know. Yeah, they already know before.
By then, they know.
They already know.
And in Division I, I never understood it because for us, the last 5 or 6 years now, it's been – we send our regional champion to state. We have 4 brackets, so it doesn't matter. You're going to know who you already know who's going to come out.
Right.
So,
no, absolutely. Well, we're definitely looking. So when's that coming up?
Not this Sunday. The following Sunday.
Yeah, I went one time just for the fun of it. I might have to go back sometime. It's certainly highly entertaining. Especially you're not one of these guys, but there's the Cincinnati the public versus private beef can get pretty funny.
Hilarious. But you know what, man? I got a lot of respect for all the coaches. So I try to keep it cool with everybody, especially, the GCL coaches. I don't get in all that stuff. Again, lace them up. Let's go.
I hear you. Well, I want to talk about now two trends that I've seen this season in high school basketball that are driving me crazy. All right, one of them I've seen it in about 5 or 6 games, and I've seen it for years, of course, but I've seen it more so this year, is that parents and kids will not leave the officials alone. And I tell you what I think it is. In watching these NBA games, the NBA stars are so bad about every single call that I think that's affecting the kids.
Oh, no doubt. I totally agree with that. And us coaches, we do it also. I know I'm always on the officials. And I think part of it is on the kids and the parents as well. And like you said, watching like LeBron, like LeBron is he's the master of it every single call. But at the same time, here in our state, like you couldn't ask an official how I can go to state. Like, how can I ref in a state championship game? Like, they'll tell you it's based on your voting. You got to vote for the official. But no one really knows that formula. And it's, again, to get up there, that's political as well. So where I'm getting at is the officials, there's really no accountability on their part as well. So you can have there are some really, really good officials. And I think the best officials are the ones that you don't even notice.
Right.
Like, you don't even notice them. Like, there are some officials down here that are totally awesome. that you don't even notice them out on the floor. And then there's some that want to be the show, that think is like, hey, the crowd is here to see me. And it is. And it's just like that. But there's no accountability for them. We had an official. We came out. We're number one in the state. We had an official tell us after a game, you guys will never beat one of the GCL schools. We're leaving after a game. And we're like, well, why? Me and another coach. And told my coaches, because you guys are not disciplined enough. Like, dude, we just beat Elder twice, St. X, LaSalle. We already beat him. He don't even know. Like, what are you talking about? But if they already have that in their mind and don't even have the audacity to look up what we've done already, I mean, come on, man, it's wrong.
I hear you, but I think for the most part, when you look at Division I, especially, the games are pretty well officiated. From what I've seen in other places, I think they're officiated fine. I mean, it can be tough down here with some of the, it's a physical brand of defense, lower scoring games down here. But I tell you, though, some of this stuff drives me crazy. I've just seen a lot of kids that every time they get called for a foul, every travel. And I mean, and the coaches, that's one thing. You guys are allowed to. But I think some of the kids, I kind of just find myself wishing, like, just give them a tech.
We prohibit it, so our kids don't do that. And if you discipline, and the teams that are disciplined, they don't do that. You don't see their kids complaining like that. And I think it's your culture. It's more your culture, and the parents, the fans, they're always gonna get on the officials, whether the officials are good or bad. That's just the way it is.
But I was at a game last Friday night, and a parent sitting behind. I don't know for a fact that she was a parent, but about 99% sure I know exactly which kid was hers. And she did not have one nice thing to say the whole game. And I tell you, I think the coach who she was talking about is one of the top 10 coaches in the region. I guarantee he is.
That's hilarious.
And she didn't have one nice thing to say. And what I wanted to turn around and say is, listen, I'm not telling you how to parent your son. I'm not telling you how to think. But all you're doing is create a toxic environment where now your son has to think about not only what is my coach saying, but what is my mom saying versus what is my coach saying. Well, my coach has to be wrong because my mom told me this. And all you're doing is you're taking the fun out of it for your kid.
And creating a habit.
You're complicating the situation, and then you're going to end up in a situation where the kids on the team have resentment towards each other. And like you said, at the top programs, that stuff doesn't go on.
No doubt. And like with the officials, like if I'm on the official, I watch film. Like I'm a film guy. So I watch games every night. I put myself to sleep watching the game. Typically, if I'm thinking there's some bad calls in the game, and when I watch it on film, I can see where he made that call. And so I know, I'm like, dang, and I was riding this dude pretty good. But that actually was just a 50-50 call.
The one that gets me is charges. And I tell you, charges, you're always going to have somebody jump out of their seat and go nuts. Right. But I'm going to tell you, me, and I'm one of the few, Jason's in this room, Jason's one of these people. There aren't a whole lot of people at the high school game that really don't give a damn who wins. And I'm one of them. Like, I don't care who wins the game when I'm out there. Right. So I can usually sit back and say, that's a blocker, that's a charge, because I don't have a horse in the race. Right. And I tell you, in my opinion, the refs bat a pretty high percentage, about 90+%. So, I think it's just kind of a sign of the times. But it's really bothered me of late. And I said, the NBA thing is a scapegoat because a lot of the players do it. But kids, I mean, just play the game, man.
Right.
Just play the game. And some of that comes from when you see the open gym, they don't want to call their own fouls and everything, but all that whine, and that's not doing anything.
Right, no doubt. And it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you as a player.
Never seen a ref overturn a call based on a kid's good play.
It's not going to happen. And you're not going to get the next call. So you're totally right. Just move on.
And then the other one, and you're going to say I'm old school for this, but I sent a tweet about this at Flying to the Hoop, which is I have seen more kids this year make a 3-point shot and celebrate like crazy, put the 3 fingers up, do some little something after they make a 3-point shot. And it drives me crazy for 2 reasons. Number one, if you've got to celebrate that much after making a three, you're probably pretty damn surprised you made the shot. And I've seen more kids miss 5 or 6 balls, make one, and celebrate. Now, you love to walk around Cincinnati telling everybody how great of a shooter you are. I've seen you shoot the basketball. I've never seen you celebrate making a three-point shot.
Because I made them before.
Right.
But I think the kid, it's just this generation. I'm telling you, man, they're just different. But I tell our team, like, instead of celebrating on something offensively like that, celebrate when you take that charge. Get up and bump your chest then. Celebrate when one of your teammates take a charge or you get a big stop. Mm-hmm. And let's celebrate that type of stuff instead of when I hit a shot.
Right, and when you celebrate making a shot, you make it about you so much.
Right.
With the exception of very few players, and most of those guys are in the NBA, most of your threes are assisted buckets.
Absolutely.
How many guys are taking a few dribbles and pulling up? It happens, but there's not a whole lot of it. So it's not even just your play. I mean, it's easy from a scouting perspective. It's easy to find a guy that can sit in the corner and shoot 45% from three. It's hard to find a guy that can go make a play and get somebody open. But the kids can't wait to celebrate the three. And so I'm all for having it be fun. Right. I'm all for having confidence. But.
Right. And see, I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of those points where you'll get parents to say, well, if my son makes a mistake, he'll come out the game, but so-and-so can make the same mistake and he gets to stay in. But what they don't understand is so-and-so creates his own shot. So-and-so can create things, so he's doing more. Your son, he shoot the three and he's shooting wide open shots, but somebody else had to get him that shot. Mm-hmm. So the other guy's gonna have a little more leeway than your kid.
But rarely do you see the absolute best players celebrating after every made bucket because they expect to score.
Exactly.
They expect to score. So the last thing I want to talk to you about here, and I'm gonna let you go. I know you guys got a game tomorrow. Got to keep it rolling in the ECC, man. Big game. Talk to me about this. I actually just saw this today, and I'm like a month late to the party. So when I prepare for these podcasts, I always look at the guest Twitter and just kind of see what they've been talking about, see if there's anything good. Yours wasn't really controversial. I was it wasn't like the old days when you used to have your Twitter beefs.
Yeah. No more Twitter beefs.
Yeah, you got real old on us. But talk to me about this thing that happened with your kids and this pair of shoes.
Oh man, that was crazy. So we had a kid that's in our program. So evidently, the rest of the guys saw that he needed some shoes, and so they got together and on their own without any other coaches knowing, and talked about it and said, "Hey, let's go in and get him some shoes." So they went in and bought him some shoes, man, and presented it to him. When we got back from our trip down in Tennessee, and they gave it to him, and what's funny is they said the first time they went to the mall to buy them, they didn't have enough money, so I don't think they accounted for taxes.
They go to Walnut Hills. They're supposed to be smart. When your son was playing AAU for me, whenever he would turn the ball over and do something stupid, like, man, don't you go to Walnut Hills? So,
hey, I use that on him all the time. But no, man, that was touching. I just thought that that was from their heart, and it was all about love, and it was just good to see, because all you hear about is me, and that was something that they did for someone else.
And it's a good reflection of the program in the school, because Walnut Hills is an interesting place, in that there aren't a lot of public high schools where you have a ton of diversity.
Right.
And Walnut Hills, it is a public school, but there's out of district kids.
Right.
You got kids from very affluent situations and kids, from right around the school that are probably from a financially underprivileged situation. Right. So that's great to see. And you even see it, with the diversity in your guys, just watching you guys at warm-ups. You got kids from a lot of different backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
That's fun. That's fun. And then you guys have done a great job of giving back. I mean, between you doing stuff like that, you guys say you do a lot of alumni things. You do a lot of different things at Walnut. Are you still doing the Coaches Association minority?
Oh, yeah.
So what's up with that?
So we're not doing anything right now, but we'll give a scholarship out this year, a diversity scholarship. So that's what, as soon as the season over, that's what we're going to start working on, identifying a student that's in need for some funds. So it's big stuff, man. So we're excited about it. I think a lot of the coaches are excited about it. It's something that we needed just to get together and get to know each other a little more so we can identify with our kids more. And I mean, coaches from all over. It's just good stuff.
And the very last thing I'm going to ask you, are we going to see you on ESPN on the TBT?
Yes, sir. We got to win it, man. You know what? They just came out with their regions. So the regions are in Lexington now. So, you
you guys were in Columbus, weren't you?
Yeah. So UK will have a squad, I'm sure.
Tough win.
So it's in Lexington, Columbus, Chicago. I mean, it's going to be some good stuff, man.
Well, I know they were talking about my Bearcat team. Dude was on his cell phone coaching, so you're going to outcoach him at least. You guys, we're going to have you on the podcast after that.
Hey, man, I don't think they came prepared. Like, I don't think when I saw them out there, I was like, man, I could have played against them.
But you need the $2 million cut, right?
Oh man, just give me my part. We good. We good.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll let you get ready for your game tomorrow.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me, man. Thanks.
All right, guys. That was Coach Ricardo Hill, Cincinnati Walnut Hills, Cincinnati Lakers. You listen to the Triple Double Podcast. For Jason Morrow, I'm Corey Albertson. Thanks, guys. This podcast is brought to you by PlayEasy.com. For players, coaches, or casual athletes looking to book a sports facility, as well as owners and managers of sports facilities, PlayEasy.com is the new one-stop site for streamlined services. If you're looking for a place to practice, play, host your tournament, camp, or other, simply go to PlayEasy.com and create a booking request for your area. Your request will go out to surrounding facilities who will respond with their best offer. Once you receive the offer that best fits your needs, book the facility and you're ready to play. For facility owners and managers, PlayEasy puts the power in your hands to maximize the usage and visibility of your facility. Register your facility for free today at PlayEasy.com. PlayEasy.com is the booking site built by athletes, coaches, and facility managers, and is proud to help bring you the Triple Double Podcast. This podcast is also brought to you by Anago Cleaning Systems. Are you tired of struggling in a dead-end job? If so, Anago Cleaning Systems has what you're looking for, an opportunity to go into business for yourself, but not by yourself. With franchising opportunities available for as little as a $2,500 down payment, purchasing an Anago franchise has never been easier. Once you own your Anago franchise, you're licensed to clean commercial facilities all around the greater Cincinnati, Dayton, or Columbus areas with the support of Anago's sales, quality control, operational, and accounting staff. Call 513-332-0033 today for your opportunity to be your own boss and grow your own commercial cleaning company under the guidance of Anago's proven and successful system. Again, call 513-332-0033 to learn more. With Anago, your future starts today.